I have existed in this place untold years. I was here before the Great Wars, before bantling Williamsburg was decreed capital of these vast green forests. I was here before Antonio and Isabella were dragged in chains from the White Lion, before the Kecoughtan and Kiskiak feasted on the reefs of the James. I knew the time of mastodons and sloths whose feet shook these very grounds. I remember even that great division when the void-caught Atlantic forever rent me from my brothers and sisters. Yes, I am old, but do not be afraid. I see that you are in search of something. Tell me, what is it?
Please, Mama, I'm so hungry. Can't you find me something to eat?
Oh, Tobias, I've scraped the cupboards for every last morsel. There's nothing left.
Dear God in heaven, why hath thee punished my family with this terrible snowstorm? Not since my great forebears set foot on Jamestown Island has this land seen such a mighty winter tempest.
'Tis dreadful indeed, husband. 2 weeks have we been held prisoners by those frigid drifts.
When will we get out, Papa?
No winter lasts forever, sweet Tobias, but our faith will. You must remain steadfast, child.
But my stomach hurts so, Papa, and I am terribly cold. Am I going to die?
Do not speak aloud such dark thoughts. We shall not starve, not on Christmas Eve.
But what can we do, husband? We've nothing left. No bread, no porridge, nothing.
Well then, wife, I fear time has come for drastic action. Fetch me the handsaw.
What are you going to do, husband?
What must be done? If I am forced to part with mine own leg,
No!
it will be but a small sacrifice.
You can't!
At least our stomachs will be full.
I will not allow this, husband. Who will plow the fields come spring?
I'm so hungry, Papa, and my eyes grow heavy.
Get the saw, wife. I command it. Dear Lord in heaven, what wandering stranger has found their way to our wretched doorstep on this most holiest of nights? Dear God, could it really be?
Yes, it is I, Thomas Jefferson, at your service.
We're saved!
Indeed you are, milady. Good tidings I bring you this dark Christmas Eve, as well as many gifts to ease your unnumbered burdens.
Huzzah!
What provisions hast thou brought us, my lord? Savory foodstuffs, I pray?
Nay, something much more valuable. I bring you the fruit of my fall hemp harvests.
What?
Excuseth me?
Behold, in this hemp basket woven by Monticello artisans, you shall find a myriad of wondrous particulars.
Yay!
Oh, bless you, Mr. Jefferson.
For thee, wee child,
Yes?
hemp mittens to help you dig your way through the snow.
Let me see.
And for you, poor woman,
Yes?
complimentary samples from my new collection of CBD oils,
Oh.
with which to ease away the pain of your pitiful existence.
I'm speechless.
Oh, praise God Almighty. How can we What's the line, Cory?
Come on, guys, you're supposed to know this by now.
Where did I put my script?
This is lame, Gramps. How much longer do we have to rehearse?
Hey, don't talk to Cory like that.
Timmy's right, Cory. I don't think any of us are feeling this skit right now.
What's wrong with it?
I don't know. It's just not funny.
Well, maybe not to you.
And that part about Jefferson's artisans?
What?
Come on.
But by having Jefferson call them artisans, I'm calling attention to the problematic nature
Yeah,
of...
Cory, I see where you're headed, but I just think we could come up with a better skit for the talent show.
Really? What do you think, Mr. Randolph?
Hey, you're the one with the vision, kid. I'm only here to serve you.
Fine. I'll look over the script and we'll reconvene later.
Now, don't go away mad, Cory.
It's fine.
You know I love you.
It's fine. I've got to lead a Christmas tour through the governor's palace this afternoon. Might as well get ready early.
Oh, you are mad.
Mr. Randolph, do you think you'll have those Foley effects ready next time? If we're still making sound effects by mouth, we'll look like amateurs.
Ah, Williamsburg at Christmas. What a wonderful time of year. No one does Christmas like we do here in Tidewater, Virginia. All the festive shops in Merchant Square, the beautiful Christmas tree down by the old courthouse, and for those in the know, the annual historic Williamsburg Employee Talent Show, when the town's assorted costume interpreters, cooks, and carriage drivers get to cut loose and stick it to the corporation with an assortment of humorous skits and song parodies, like the one you just heard. But of all the wonderful festivities that occur this time of year, my favorite part of Christmas in Williamsburg is the glorious handcrafted wreaths that adorn the doors of every building, stable, and privy in this historic tourist town. Impossible as it seems, each Christmas wreath is more sumptuous and colorful than the next, all lovingly made with rustic, naturally sourced materials like apples, cotton balls, dried oranges, pomegranates, cinnamon sticks, ribbons, pine boughs, turkey feathers, boxwood, coffee beans, playing cards, winterberry, clamshells, dried yarrow and sunflowers, cloves, chili peppers, amaranth, cookies, pineapples, magnolia leaves. Just thinking about it makes me all tingly. Here at the Colonial Craft Studio in the historic Williamsburg Facilities Management Complex on the outskirts of town, all the amazing wreaths are designed and assembled in the space of 1 week. It takes a Herculean effort to complete the 600 one-of-a-kind wreaths that adorn our wonderful town, and I hope you listeners appreciate all the work that goes into it. Why don't we listen in to this week's Monday morning kickoff meeting and find out how the sausages are made.
Excuse me, please. Quiet, everyone. Quiet. Enough already. Ow. Thank you. Let's all stand for the Williamsburg Pledge. By the bones of Thomas Jefferson and uncounted hallowed names that fought upon the blood-soaked dirt betwixt the York and James, this mighty oath we do now swear to prove through deeds and words. We give our lives, our sons, our daughters. Hail thee, Williamsburg.
Yeah.
Well done. Now, for those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Karen Moody.
Or Moody Karen, as she was known around the office.
Director of Holiday Festivities for the historic Williamsburg Corporation. I want to welcome everyone here to the first day of Christmas wreath making at the Colonial Craft Studio. Woo! I see a lot of new faces out there, as well as some treasured longtimers who have been making wreaths for decades, like Mr. Randolph here.
I haven't missed a year of wreath making since 1975, and I love it.
And Betty Miles, our Senior Associate of Historic Decor, famous for her record number of blue ribbon-winning wreaths.
Thank you.
Excellent work, Betty. Now, as most of you know, the Historic Williamsburg Corporation's Christmas wreaths must all be ready for hanging by this coming Saturday, the day before our annual grand illumination. Now, this is hard, demanding work, and though it seems impossible at times, we have never once missed our wreath quota, and this year will not be any different.
Amen to that.
Of course, I know everyone is busy and stressed out at this time of year. And I know many of you are planning to be in the employee Christmas talent show on Saturday night.
Ooh, yeah!
But you must get your priorities straight. Wreaths first, personal life second. Oh, and by the way, for this year's Christmas show, absolutely no profanity or off-color jokes. We cannot have a repeat of last year's nip slip, especially with this year's guest judge, Giselle Bordeaux, in attendance. That's right. World-renowned culinary and travel writer Giselle Bordeaux will be judging both the wreaths and the talent show.
All right. Yes.
With this caliber of judge, we cannot afford to look like a second-rate operation.
We ain't second rate.
No, we are not. Now, with America's fading interest in our founding fathers and tourism numbers in the toilet, we need every bit of publicity that we can get.
We got this, Karen.
All right, then. I think I've said enough, and I hope I've instilled just a little bit of Christmas spirit in you all.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's get to work. Make it happen, people.
Wow, Karen's speech got me so inspired. I wonder how the other folks in the studio are feeling.
Barley.
What?
You're gonna have to work faster than that if you expect to finish your 10 wreaths today.
I'm doing my best, Uncle Waverly.
We'll do better. Some of these folks make 20 wreaths a day. If you want to keep this job, you're gonna have to learn to focus, boy. Now hand me those peacock feathers.
These?
Have you never seen a peacock feather, Barley? Yes, Those!
Jeez.
Now watch closely. Take a feather like this, tuck it in the wreath base like this, and then wrap the floral wire around. Very simple.
I don't get it.
For God's sakes, Barley, like this. Tuck and wire. Tuck and wire.
Tuck and wire?
Lord have mercy, Barley. When you called about getting a job here at the craft studio, I should have hung up then and there.
I'm sorry, Uncle Waverly. I'm trying to learn.
I'm sorry. Your two favorite words in the English language. Just stick with winding up the grapevines and I'll handle the feathers. They're going to need my special touch if I'm going to win a blue ribbon this year. That little Miss Perfect Betty Miles has been on a dry streak for some time now, so this is my year to shine. Oh, God.
What?
She saw me looking at her.
Who?
Betty Miles, are you not listening to me?
Sorry.
For Pete's sake, Barley, hand me that glue gun.
Hey, Uncle Waverly.
What?
How did that lady win all those blue ribbons anyway?
Well, I'd like to ascribe it to sexual favors and alcohol, but it's really those berries.
What berries?
Oh, those damn Smilax berries.
What's a Smilax?
It's a kind of vine, Barley.
Oh.
Now, there are many varieties of Smilax out there, but this particular one is known as Christ blood.
Huh?
Oh, it's a rare and beautiful plant, son. Gorgeous, dense clusters of aromatic, iridescent scarlet berries cascading on long, pendulous stems. Some folks even say they glow.
Really?
Well, I don't know about that, but they are stunning and very, very rare. When those greedy colonists arrived here in Virginia, they sucked those berries up by the ton to decorate their sorry little hovels until there wasn't a sprig left anywhere in the state.
Aw, that's sad.
It is. They used to say those berries were formed from the drops of blood that fell to the ground as Christ suffered up there on the cross. And now they ripen every December to remind us of his birth and ultimate sacrifice.
So, where does Miss Betty get them?
I wish I knew, Barley. But somehow, every couple of years, she finds a stash of those berries somewhere out in the forest, and when she does, it's blue ribbon time. Fingers crossed, it won't be this year. Who knows? Maybe I'll find some berries and I'll be the one shaking hands with Giselle Bordeaux.
Later that afternoon, back in the historic area, our would-be Thomas Jefferson is leading a group of 24 tourists on a stroll down Duke of Gloucester Street.
And unlike our Puritan neighbors to the north, who have outlawed Christmas...
What? Who would do that? That's terrible.
'Tis so, verily. Here in Virginia, we take great joy in our Christmas festivities.
Mr. Jefferson, can you tell us a bit more about Williamsburg's famous Christmas decorations?
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
Ah, yes. We do festoon buildings with boughs of evergreen leaves, such as pine and mountain laurel. Their evergreen nature symbolizes the everlasting life promised to us by God.
No, I mean all the beautiful wreaths that you guys put up every year.
Yeah, with all the apples and pineapples and stuff.
Now, let me interject here. The thing about being a costume interpreter in a living history museum like historic Williamsburg is that your character supposedly lives in the 18th century, while the town's visitors, as we all do, live in the 21st. Sometimes it can be difficult for interpreters to navigate that awkward paradox. Let's see how this Thomas Jefferson explains away the totally modern tradition of Williamsburg Christmas wreaths.
Well, wreaths decorated with costly foodstuffs sounds rather extravagant to me, but I have heard tell of ostentatious wastrels who drunkenly squander their family's wages on such outlandish displays. At most, I would light a single candle in each of my windows on Christmas Eve.
Not bad, Mr. Jefferson. You threaded that needle fairly well. But did you know, dear listeners, about the long-standing tradition in which visiting tourists and even some Williamsburg employees intentionally try to trip up the costumed interpreters with cheeky questions related to the time frame dilemma? Around here, it's known as wig-jacking.
Excuse me, Mr. Jefferson.
Ah, Miss Moore. Thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, I hope it's all right. I just happened to be in the neighborhood doing some Christmas shopping, and I thought I'd eavesdrop.
Certainly.
Great, because I wanted to hear a bit more about all the many, many Williamsburg Christmas traditions. The season goes on for quite a while, doesn't it?
Well, in answer to your query, the holy days of Christmas are made up of a 40-day cycle of feasts and worship, beginning with the Nativity of Jesus on Christmas Day, and ending with the Purification of the Virgin on February 2nd.
And do you do anything special to celebrate the New Year?
Well, yes, some people do celebrate that.
Isn't there some religious significance to that date?
There is.
Right, the Feast of the... Tell me again what that is?
Well...
Yes?
So, we here in Williamsburg, on the first day of the new year, celebrate the Feast of the Circumcision.
Oh my.
To commemorate the day that the blood of Christ was first shed.
Feast of the Circumcision? That sounds like a real party.
Well, it is a solemn, yet joyous occasion for all good Anglicans to observe.
So what food do you serve at this Feast of the Circumcision?
What do we serve?
Yeah, like pigs in a blanket, spring rolls.
Mr. Jefferson, Miss Moore, may I have a word with you?
Miss Moody, I didn't see you there.
Obviously. This way, please. We'll just be a minute, folks. Okay, Natalie, I know this is your day off, but we expect our employees to act appropriately at all times and to not distract those of us who are working.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Moody.
Good. I'm sure it won't happen again. And Cory.
Yes?
I thought we said ixnay on the whole circumcision business.
I'm sorry, but Natalie put me on the spot.
Whatever, Cory. Just make sure you stick to the script next time. And Natalie, I'll see you at the Colonial Craft Studio bright and early tomorrow.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Bright and early.
Natalie, I can't believe you tried to wig-jack me. You're gonna get us both fired.
Relax, Mr. Jefferson. It's no big deal. See you at the next skit rehearsal?
Natalie, taking that as her cue to exit, turned around and headed up Barley Street when she noticed another familiar face, and this time she would act appropriately.
Oh, my little snowdrop, are you hungry? I bought you a carrot, my favorite little boy. You're such a little cutie. Do you want some more?
Hi, Betty.
Oh, Natalie.
I thought you'd still be working at the craft studio.
Well, actually, I'm still on the clock. We ran low on reef trimming, so I'm out snipping and bagging.
Ah.
Oh, actually, I'm glad to run into you. Could you do me a huge favor?
Sure. What?
When you come over tomorrow night to use my piano, can you feed my kitty? I've got some errands to run, and I'm not sure how late I'll be.
Sure, no problem. Tessa is such a sweet cat.
Oh, thank you, dear. I'll leave a sandwich out for you. Oh, not for you, Snowdrop. For Natalie.
Oh, you're so nice to me, Betty. Fixing me food and letting me practice on your piano.
Oh, I'm happy to, Natalie. You know, I've never had a niece, and since I've gotten to know you better, well, you're the closest I've got.
Aw, Betty, that's so sweet of you, but I should probably let you know that nibbling is my preferred term.
What now?
Nibbling is the gender-neutral term. Works for niece or nephew.
I see. Well, that is just adorable, my little nibbling Natalie.
Uh-oh, someone seems jealous.
Don't worry, Snowdrop. I love you too. Snowdrop and I have been friends ever since he was born this past spring. Isn't that right, my little Snowdrop? I sneak him carrots every now and then. But don't tell the livestock management folks. They're so picky about what their animals eat.
I won't say a word, Betty.
Thank you.
So what have you got planned for tomorrow that's going to keep you out so late?
Well, promise to keep it a secret. But I think tomorrow's the night.
The night? For what?
Well, tomorrow's the last full moon of the year, and fingers crossed, there will be a nice big crop of Christ blood berries waiting for me somewhere out in the woods. It's certainly been a minute since the last time I found any.
Ah.
Oh, I know what you're going to ask, but don't. I never reveal the location of my secret berry patch.
Oh, come on. You can tell me, Betty. Isn't the Christmas season supposed to be all about sharing?
Maybe so, but if I did tell you, I have to kill you. And no one wants that for Christmas.
Well, darn. I gave it a shot. Oh, hey, there's Barley.
Who?
Barley Prentice. Over there by the...
Where?
Well, he was by the churchyard gate, but I don't see him now. That poor guy. I can't believe the way his uncle treats him.
Ugh, Waverly. He's always been such a pill, ever since Barley's mother died, and he's had to watch over that kid.
Oh?
Waverly would have left town years ago if he could have. And now his life's so tangled up here. He's scared to try anything new. It's turned him into such a bitter old man.
Well, that's no excuse. It's not Barley's fault what happened.
I'm not making excuses, Natalie. It's just life. You may have your own plans about getting out of Williamsburg someday.
That's for sure.
But sometimes, honey, this town grabs a hold of you like a bald eagle snatching a squirrel. You'll understand someday. See you later.
Isn't Betty a trooper? She's already put in a solid 10 hours making Christmas wreaths, and still she's not finished. After her visit with Snowdrop, Betty glanced at the long list of botanicals she was searching for, making a mental map of the route her scavenger hunt would take. First, she stopped at the Lewis garden to gather some dried allium flowers, carefully placing their fragile remains into a crumpled white plastic bag. But stopping at the gate on the way out of the garden, Betty noticed something odd across the street.
Is that Barley?
It was.
Why is he staring at me?
After a millisecond or two, Barley quickly turned away and headed in the opposite direction, down the rustic brick sidewalk. Betty watched Barley walk away when something else caught her eye. A huge old Osage orange tree in front of the Lightfoot house, with dozens of horse apples scattered around its trunk. So, with the autumn sun sinking steadily in the sky, Betty hightailed it over to the grounds of the stately brick house. At the Lightfoot house, she gathered as many horse apples as she could fit in her sturdy Trader Joe's bag.
These will work just fine.
Hey, lady, I don't think you can take those.
Oh, it's okay. I work here.
Oh.
I'm gathering supplies for our Christmas wreath.
Well, good luck. I can't wait to see them.
Betty was trying to decide if she had picked up too many of the heavy horse apples when she noticed Barley again, standing in front of the Bracken tenement next door. Betty didn't smile, but she waved at Barley, just to make him aware that she was aware of him. And again, he pretended not to see her.
That is one strange boy.
Just then, Betty remembered that her co-worker, Janice, had requested some dried okra from the garden at Bassett Hall, and though it soon would be dark, Betty was nearly there already. Betty hurried toward the house just as the sun was making contact with the trees on the horizon. The November light was dim when Betty reached the stand of okra, so she made fast work of the pods, at the same time marveling at their intricate patterning.
Fascinating. These lines are so architectural,
Betty thought to herself. When she had cut off every last stalk in the garden, Betty wandered toward the front entry drive. But there, once again, was Barley Prentice, peering out from behind a beautiful old eastern red cedar. By the way, that tree is actually a state champion, with a whopping 304 points on the Virginia Big Tree Index. But I digress. Thinking fast,
this is getting ridiculous.
Betty stepped behind a nearby reconstructed smokehouse.
Oh, happy day,
Betty said in an overly affected voice.
I can't believe I found them. I'm so lucky.
That did the trick. Betty heard fast footsteps on the gravel, and when the footsteps got just close enough, Betty leapt out from behind the smokehouse.
Barley Prentice, are you following me?
Betty, I
know what you want, Barley, and you're out of luck.
But
you think those Christ blood berries are in town where any idiot can find them?
That's not what...
Give me a break, Barley. I know Waverly put you up to this.
Now, hold on.
Tell your uncle he'll never get his hands on my berries.
Nobody put me up to anything. I'm just out here walking.
Police.
It's a free country.
Save it, Barley. I saw you by the Baxter Garden and down by the Lightfoot house, and if I catch you following me anywhere else, I will report you to Miss Moody, and you'll be looking for work at some godforsaken pancake house.
Barley didn't respond, and Betty held her ground, staring at him wordlessly.
Crazy old bat. Maybe you're the one following me.
With that ridiculous remark, Barley turned and headed back towards town. Every few seconds, Barley glanced back at Betty, elegantly framed by an allée of huge willow oaks, glaring at him with the most intimidating glare she could glare up. The next evening, Barley showed up, at of all places, Betty's house in the historic area. It was the old Gristle Hay lodging house, one of the nicest HWC-owned homes in town. Only a long-time senior employee like Betty could qualify for an actual restored house, i.e. original, versus one of the reconstructed ones, i.e. a fake. And believe me, HWC employees take that distinction very seriously. Anywho, Barley showing up at Betty's house like this was pretty darn brazen given yesterday's encounter. But on this day, Barley had devised a new plan. He'd simply strike a deal. Everyone has their price, right? Surely he and Betty could reach an understanding. But what would an old widow like Betty want in return for a bushel of rare Christmas berries, Barley asked himself. Scented soaps? A lifetime supply of pantyhose? Having been orphaned as a child, women of Betty's age were completely foreign territory for Barley. Not that he'd ever had much luck with women his own age.
Natalie?
Well, Barley Prentice. This is a surprise. What can I do for you?
Is Betty here?
No, she's working late.
Oh.
Would you like to come in? You look like you're freezing.
Well...
That flimsy denim jacket can't be keeping you warm.
Not really.
Come on, I'll make you some tea.
Well, sure.
You know, if Betty was here, she'd be telling you to layer up. Long johns and sweaters make the cold weather better.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's go to the kitchen. I was already heating up some water.
Okay.
I don't know how long Betty will be. She's working late tonight at the crafts studio.
Okay.
Well, luckily for me, I was told this morning that my wreath-making skills were not up to historic Williamsburg Corporation standards. So I'm off the hook.
Oh, so do you live here with Betty?
I wish. It'll be years before I'm eligible for a sweet crib like this. I'm just a lowly HWC apprentice, making candles, gardening, whatever they need me for.
Oh.
All I can afford is the little shed out back. I'm just here to feed Betty's cat and borrow her piano for an hour or two.
Oh, you play?
I do, and I've been working on a song for the employee Christmas show.
Neat.
It's called Real White Christmas. It's not finished yet, but I'm making progress. Are you doing anything for the show?
Me? No.
Here you go, sir. I hope you like peppermint.
Sure. Thanks.
Listen, Barley, since you're here, can I bounce some ideas off of you?
Ideas about what?
For the song. I could use some feedback.
Well, I don't know how much help I'd be, but I'll give it a try.
Great. Come on. So, the melody goes like this. What do you think?
Sounds pretty good, I guess.
It's kind of a traditional waltz for the verse, then switches gear for the chorus. It's a real white Christmas coming your way, a big long wish list that ends with your name. A lily white Christmas, all we need is some snow. It's a real white Christmas wherever you go. Whoa, you got it, Barley. Nice job.
Really? Thanks.
Can I go over some of the other lyrics I'm working on? Do you mind? Just say the first thing that pops into your head.
So rather surprisingly, Barley listened intently to Natalie's lyrics, offering several suggestions. And much to Barley's surprise, Natalie seemed to truly appreciate his contributions.
This is great, Barley. The song's practically finished now.
Well, you can change the parts I came up with. I won't be mad.
Why would I do that?
Well, I'm not a real writer or anything.
Seems like it to me.
I can just imagine what Uncle Waverly would say. What makes you think you can write, Barley? You can't do anything right.
Oh.
That's what he'd say.
That is ridiculous. You know, Barley, I've seen the way your uncle talks to you.
Yeah?
Can I just say, he is one giant orifice. Big enough to shove a Chevy through.
He's not that bad.
You need to stand up for yourself, boy. Your uncle's not all that, and there's nothing wrong with you.
Well, thanks, Natalie. That's nice of you to say.
I'm so glad you stopped by, Barley. I was starting to worry about that song, and now it's like, boom, mission accomplished. Hey, what did you want to talk to Betty about anyway?
I just wanted to get Betty's advice. On Christmas wreaths?
So, just a heads up, listeners, we're getting near the halfway point of the show, so why don't we pause here for a quick break while things are still fairly upbeat. It's gonna get real dark real soon. Feel free to get a drink or use the bathroom. I'll wait. Now, where were we? Right. The following evening, the first one in December, Betty Miles's minivan pulled up to an old wooden gate, headlights turned off. The gate was hidden behind two very large English boxwood. I'm guessing they were at least 200 years old, judging by their size and gnarled branches. Betty got out of her minivan and turned her head from side to side, checking to make sure no one was around. Once satisfied that she was alone, Betty walked up to the gate and whispered,
"Hey, Snowdrop, I bought you a carrot."
Snowdrop shot out of the shadows and greedily gobbled up the carrot. Snowdrop watched as Betty opened the rickety old gate and followed Betty's lead as she quietly coaxed him into the back of her minivan.
"Come on, boy. Come on."
Still glancing around for unexpected interlopers, Betty got into the driver's seat, buckled up, and turned back to Snowdrop, who was anxiously examining the car's interior.
"Are you ready for an adventure?"
About 25 minutes later, Betty was walking down a deserted dirt road deep in the outer reaches of James City County, flashlight in hand, Snowdrop by her side.
"Come on, Snowdrop. Let's go find us some berries."
They walked steadily for 15 minutes until the dirt road transitioned into a wooded path. Finally, when the path opened up to a small clearing, Betty slowed to a stop.
"This is the place, Snowdrop. Isn't it beautiful?" Smell those leaves. Tell me about it. Now comes the hard part. I'll just tie you up here and clear out some of these branches. And try to focus. Greetings to all the spirits of the forest. Peace to all who dwell amongst these trees. I stand before you, humble and grateful. Oh, Derechia, mighty Derechia, daughter of Gaia, goddess of the autumn wind. Once again, I come to these woods, seeking the blessing of your great generosity. Standing here, under this full December moon, I humbly beseech thee, give me this night that which I seek. Bestow on me the bounty of your harvest, the fruit of your loins, the culmination of nature's fecundity. I beg thee, show me this night the vine called Christ's blood, that I may share with the world the wonder of Gaia's creation. Derechia, I bring with me the gift you have requested, a sacrifice in your honor. On this night, in this place, I take this life in tribute to your mighty power. I'm so sorry, Snowdrop. Derechia, hear me and grant my request. Derechia, do not let my request be in vain yet again. Derechia!
Silence, mortal. Why must thou disturb my slumber?
Please do not be angry, Derechia.
Why must thou vex me yet again?
Please, Derechia. I only seek a small harvest of berries. It's nothing to you, a pittance, and I have made a sacrifice of this innocent life, just as you have asked.
Indeed, I did ask, mortal, and you have done my bidding, as you say.
I have.
But still, I do not feel generous on this cold autumn night. Still, I doubt you.
Please, Derechia. It's been 5 years since you last provided me with the Christ blood. I need it.
It does not concern me.
But you promised me the berries last year and the year before that.
Promised? Suggested, perhaps.
Derechia, I stand before you shivering in a pool of blood. I want you to help me.
It is not time.
Not time? But if not now, when?
Return next year, and we shall see.
Next year? Derechia, we have played this game far too long now. Does Snowdrop's life mean nothing? Never have I given you such a great tribute.
It is not enough.
Not enough? Killing one of God's gentlest creatures?
It is not enough.
Derechia, when I first found you, all you asked was that I make you a simple loaf of bread to feed the animals of these woods. And you provided me with the Christ blood. But each year after that, your demands grew more taxing, your generosity more and more erratic. Is there nothing left that will satisfy you?
Perhaps.
What then?
Another life. A human life.
Are you insane?
Silence! That is what I ask. Those are my terms.
Well then, Derechia, I won't bother you ever again. Nothing is worth taking a human life. Find yourself another disciple, if there are any left. Oh, God. It was all for nothing. Poor Snowdrop. How could I have been so stupid? So stupid.
Miss Betty.
Barley, what are you doing?
Listen.
Followed me?
Miss Betty, I want those berries.
I told you to stay away from me, creep.
Lady, I need those berries, and I'm gonna take them one way or another.
Well, they're not here, Barley. They're not here.
You're lying.
Stay away from me. I'm calling the police.
Don't do that, Miss Betty.
I warned you.
I said don't do that.
Let go of my hand.
Let go of that phone.
Help! Help! Is anybody there? Help!
Shut up!
Barley, no.
And in the span of a few seconds, it was over. Betty lay motionless on the forest floor.
I told you to drop that phone. I told you. I told you. Wait, what's that?
Barley grabbed the flashlight lying on the ground next to Betty and cast his light across the surrounding trees and bushes.
Is that berries? They're everywhere. The whole field. I knew she was lying. I knew she was lying.
I'm so sorry, listeners, that you had to endure that whole awful event. I'd like to say that this kind of thing is really unusual, that Williamsburg is a quiet little place where everyone lives peaceful, boring, but happy lives. But I'm sure that all of you who follow this podcast know better. An hour or so later, back in the heteronormative calm of a Williamsburg night, Natalie stopped by Betty's house as planned to feed Tessa half a can of Cat Cafe. And as Betty promised, there was a cling-wrap sandwich waiting for Natalie on the table. But unfortunately for Natalie, it appeared to be cow tongue and onion.
I guess it's the thought that counts,
Natalie said. So instead of the sandwich, she helped herself to some cereal, then practiced the song she and Barley had sketched out yesterday. At that same moment, just a few houses down on Nicholson Street,
Uncle Waverly.
Barley, get in here before you catch a damn cold.
Hey, Uncle Waverly.
Good gracious, Barley, you're a mess. Don't you ever comb your hair?
Stop.
And why are your pants all muddy?
Uncle Waverly.
How do you expect to get anywhere in this world looking like that?
I'm
If you
sorry.
don't maintain some standards of appearance, how will anyone...
Uncle Waverly.
What?
I got something for you.
What? What have you got there?
I think you'll like it. Have a look.
Let me see. Oh, my Lord! Is that
Yep.
Christ blood? Christ blood?
Yeah,
Oh, my God. Look how much is in there.
I know.
Where did you find it?
Out past Uncle's neck.
Uncle's neck?
Yeah, out in the woods. I can show you where, but there isn't anymore.
Are you sure about that?
I took every last branch I could find.
Well, that's all right, Barley. There's plenty here. More than enough. You know what this means, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, no.
Oh, it means Miss Betty Miles will soil her pretty little dress when I show up and win this year's Blue Ribbon Christmas wreath.
Yeah, she'll be surprised, all right.
Barley, this is going to be the best Christmas ever. The best!
I'm glad you're happy.
Happy? I'm ecstatic. Wait, did you tell anyone about this?
No, I came straight here after I found it.
And how did you manage to find it?
Dumb luck, I guess.
Well, that's just the kind of luck I'd expect you to have. Oh, don't look like that, Barley. I'm only kidding. This is wonderful. You did great. You did amazing.
I did?
Of course. I'm proud to be your uncle.
You are?
Now, don't get all teary-eyed.
It's just that...
What?
It's just that that's all I've ever wanted to hear from you.
Oh, Barley, now you're making me feel bad. I don't mean all of those mean things I say. That's just my way.
Uncle Waverly.
Come here, Barley. It's all right. It's all right.
Uncle Waverly.
Aw, seeing Waverly and Barley finally sharing some mutual love and understanding would almost be touching. If you could forget all the evil that precipitated that long overdue moment. The evening after Betty's brutal attack, Natalie, who had spent all day dyeing ribbons at the historic Williamsburg apothecary, went to Betty's house to make use of her piano one last time. She was this close to having all the chords worked out for Real White Christmas, and figured she could easily iron out all the kinks in the arrangement by the end of the night. But as she neared the dark front porch...
It's a real white Christmas. Dang! What was that? Oh, her newspaper. I nearly broke my ankle on that thing. I guess she forgot to bring it in. Her mail, too. That poor woman works so hard. I hope she takes a nice long vacation when wreath season is over. Whoa, Tessa! What's wrong, girl? Are you hungry? You poor thing. I've never heard you like this. Let's get you some dinner. What's that smell? Oh, snap. I forgot to put away that disgusting sandwich last night. Oof.
Natalie turned to grab a can of Tessa's favorite flavor of Cat Cafe, sardine vichyssoise, and gave her the whole thing, as she was very insistent.
Here you go, Tessa. Dig in. Wow. Did Betty forget to feed you this morning? That's weird. And Betty just left that sandwich out all night? Something's not right. Hey, Betty. It's Natalie. Just checking in. Give me a call when you get the chance. Bye.
But Betty didn't respond to the voicemail or texts. Natalie tried to practice her song, but she was too distracted to concentrate. So she called the Colonial Crafts studio.
Hi, Karen. It's Natalie. Is Betty still there?
Oh, hi, Natalie. Betty hasn't shown up today. Do you know where she is?
No. I assumed she was making wreaths.
Well, she's not, and we're kind of screwed here. Would you be willing to come back in for a couple of hours tonight?
But yesterday, you said my wreath skills weren't up to snuff.
We have reached that level of desperation.
This is not what Natalie wanted to hear. She explained to Karen that she already had promised Cory that she'd rehearse the new version of his skit tonight. And as untempting as that was, it was way better than wiring Granny Smith apples to decorative panels all night. But Moody Karen was not having it.
Oh, all right. I'll be over in a bit.
Great. See you soon.
Before locking up, Natalie made one more call.
Hi. Yeah, I'm not sure if this is an emergency, but I am a little worried about my friend Betty. Well, I'm not sure where she is. I haven't seen her since yesterday, and she's kind of old. What should I do?
By Friday, it was apparent to everyone at the Colonial Crafts studio that Betty's absence meant something was horribly amiss. But as Karen Moody pointed out earlier, wreaths, traditions, no exceptions, blah, blah, blah. So the celebration with Giselle Bordeaux as a star attraction trudged along. But in an embarrassing instance of poor planning, the historic Williamsburg Corporation hadn't anticipated just how much of a crowd Ms. Bordeaux would draw.
Good Lord, Barley. Look at this place. If I'd known there was going to be this many people, I would have gotten here hours ago.
Let's get closer to the stage.
Where is it? I can't even see it.
Over here.
Oh no, the fife and drum corps just started up.
Now, to get to the wreath judging portion of this evening's program, Barley and Waverly Prentice would first have to write out a performance of the Williamsburg Fife and Drum Corps. So they waited and stood and waited, and even though Williamsburg has the top-rated fife and drum corps in the nation, I'm sure you're all aware that just a little bit of fife goes a very long way. A cannon marked the start of the award ceremony.
For heaven's sakes, Barley, what are they saying? I can't make out a single word. Is that Giselle talking?
She's saying, happy to be here, blah, blah, blah.
Who cares?
Okay, now they're saying something about best use of native plants.
For God's sake, just get to the main award.
I think they're doing best use of color now.
Who got that? Old man Randolph? He does have a flair for that sort of thing.
I couldn't make it out.
Well, if my Christ blood wreath doesn't win me best in show
Wait,
this year...
here we go. The Blue Ribbon Award goes to...
Waverly Prentice.
Yes!
Did they say my name?
Woo, woo.
Did they say my name?
You won, Uncle Waverly, you won!
I won? I did? I won?
Way to go, Uncle Waverly!
I can't believe it!
Well, you deserve it!
Oh my God! Thank you, Barley. Thank you. If you hadn't found those berries, who knows how this would have all turned out?
I'm sure Betty Miles would like to know the answer to that question. Later that Saturday evening, after the crescent fires had dimmed and the tourists cleared out of the town center, it was finally time for the Employee Christmas Talent Show, held each year in the auditorium of the Whitney DeMint Museum of Decorative Arts.
Oh, Natalie, you made it. Are you going to be in the show after all?
I don't know, Cory. I'm just so worried about Betty. I can barely focus on anything. I only came here because I couldn't stand another night just sitting around at home, worrying.
Are there any new developments?
Well, not really. The police found her phone on the side of 199, but no prints. It was completely wiped.
Dang.
You know, I want to stay hopeful, but it's been 3 days now.
Well, maybe going ahead with our skit will help. At least it'll take your mind off everything. And look at that crowd out there. They're worried too, but they made it. We all could use a distraction right about now.
But I haven't learned all the new lines.
We can wing it. Just be your usual smart-ass self and they'll eat it up.
Natalie was thinking over her answer when suddenly Karen Moody walked up with none other than Giselle Bordeaux and her 2 cameramen.
Oh, and these are the 2 very talented young folks I was telling you about.
Oh my gosh.
Cory, Natalie, this is Giselle Bordeaux. I'm just showing her around backstage during the intermission.
It is a pleasure to meet you both.
You too, Miss Bordeaux. I'm such a fan.
Thank you.
Natalie was dumbstruck by Ms. Bordeaux's camera crew, who now had their cameras pointed right at her face.
Miss Bordeaux, it's so great that you're here. I enjoy your show so much.
And I am loving your little talent show as well. So irreverent. It is such a pleasure to take shots at the upper management, no?
Yes, of course, but it's all in good fun.
Oui. And I hope that Miss Moody does not take revenge for your frivolity on you and your co-workers.
Oh, I would never do that, Miss Bordeaux.
Karen smiled into the camera.
No one enjoys a good joke as much as I do.
Oh, Natalie, Karen tells me you are especially close to Betty. You have my deepest sympathy.
Thanks.
But do not give up hope, my chérie.
I won't.
Écoute, once, when I was on the border of Pakistan and India, in search of legendary Kashmiri bread yeast, my whole production team was kidnapped in the middle of the night.
Oh.
Everyone thought for sure we were all dead. But even locked away in that cave for 2 weeks, We recorded everything, and once we were rescued, we edited that footage into the most incredible story. We won an Emmy for that episode.
Wow.
Let that be a lesson to you, Natalie. Never, ever give up. They will find Betty. I know it.
That is so inspiring, Miss Bordeaux.
The show must go on, no?
Always. And we should find our seats. This way, Miss Bordeaux.
Break a leg.
With that, Karen, Ms. Bordeaux, and her camera crew headed toward the velvety curtains dividing the performers from the audience.
Bye. It was great to meet you, Giselle. Love your dress. So what do you think, Natalie? Will you do it? The skit? Please say yes.
Okay. I'll do it for Betty.
And so Cory's little spoof went on as scheduled, starting off the second act of the hour-long show. The house lights dimmed, the curtains parted, and a spotlight focused on a little boy in ragged clothes.
Please, Mama, I'm so hungry. Can't you find me something to eat?
Oh, Tobias, I've scraped the cupboards for every last morsel. There's nothing left.
Dear God in heaven, why hath thee punished my family with this terrible snowstorm? Not since my great
Things seemed to be going well, but back at the doors to the assembly room, a strange rattling began.
What is that noise?
Just then, the auditorium doors burst open with a great gush of wind.
Stop! Stop the show!
Betty? Is that Betty? Oh my God, Betty! Where have you been?
Where have I been? I'll tell you where I've been. That's what Betty thought to herself as she replayed the last 3 awful days in her mind. And it was harrowing. Betty remembered lying there in a woodland clearing deep in the forest. She remembered drifting in and out of consciousness, and she remembered the pain. She remembered her throat scrubbed raw by Barley's wreath-roughened hands, and she remembered the throbbing gash on the back of her head from where she had smashed onto the ground. Betty laid in that weedy dirt for 3 days, unable to move. To Betty, it seemed an eternity. Day turned into night, night into day, and back again. And when the nights came, they were cold. If Betty hadn't been wearing multiple layers of clothes, she would have quickly succumbed to hypothermia.
Oh, it's so cold.
Every couple of hours, Betty would open her eyes and see the indifferent clouds drifting by, and turkey vultures circling overhead in ever-tightening spirals. When she turned her head to the side, she was face to face with Snowdrop, his pitiless, immobile eyes staring right through her. Betty was confused by the damp, red-stained wool. Was it something she had done? Up in the trees, the crows called out to her. But what were they trying to say? She couldn't make sense of their cackles. Betty heard other things, too.
Betty, it's me. It's Teddy.
Teddy, is that you?
Just hold on, honey. You'll make it through this.
But Teddy, her husband, had died 5 years ago. Could it really be him?
Teddy, help me.
You'll be all right, Betty. It'll take a little time, but I promise you'll be just fine.
Betty passed out again, and when she awoke on the 3rd day, she finally felt a little stronger. She stretched her arms and cracked her toes. She even managed to sit up and assess the situation.
What happened?
It looked like an elephant had stormed through the woods, she thought to herself.
Barley.
Betty reached for her phone. But where was it? With no way to call the police, she simply sat there and gathered her strength.
God, if you get me through this.
When her mind's fog began to clear, Betty steeled herself for the long journey ahead.
Just one step. That's all you have to do. One step. And one more.
After what must have been hours, rounding the last curve of that deserted trail and seeing her minivan was like coming upon the Grand Canyon for the first time. Awesome and sublime. She got in and started the engine.
So cold. Oh,
In a couple of minutes, when the car heater kicked in, Betty felt a flush of relief, and her fingers started to flex.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Betty then put her car into reverse, did a 3-point turn, and headed back out the dirt road that brought her to this fateful spot. Then, back at home, Betty stumbled through the living room, into the bathroom, and disrobed. When the steam of the shower began to fog up the bathroom mirror, Betty stepped under the glorious rush of hot water and loofah'd off the dirt, the blood, and 3 days of her own filth. After that, she wrapped herself in a towel and, still a bit fuzzy-headed, stumbled into the bedroom to get the gun, the one with the opal-trimmed handle that she kept in her nightstand, the gun she hadn't touched since Teddy gave it to her 5 Christmases ago.
Now, this is a little unusual, Betty, but I hope you like it.
A gun? What kind of Christmas present is that?
Listen, I may not be around much longer.
He was right about that.
Who's going to protect you when I can't? You'll have to watch out for yourself.
But I never held a gun in my life, Teddy.
Don't worry, Betty. I'll show you how. It's a lot like you, actually. It's small, it's tough, and it gets the job done.
Betty stared at that ugly gun sitting in the nightstand drawer. She knew what she had to do.
Betty, are you hurt?
Where were you?
Why didn't you call anyone?
Who's that lady?
She looks fine.
The incessant questions from the crowd finally snapped Betty back to the present. She focused her thoughts and shouted,
Everyone back up. Where's Barley?
Betty, thank God you're all right.
I said back up. Stay away.
She's got a gun.
Run! That's right. I got a gun.
Betty, what are you doing?
Stay out of it, Natalie. This is between me and Barley, and I've got my sights on him right now.
Oh, crap.
Barley?
What does Barley have to do with this?
At the back of the small theater, the ever-prepared Giselle Bordeaux signaled her camera crew to draw in closer.
Don't give me that innocent act, Waverly. Barley tried to kill me and left me for dead.
What?
Barley, what did you do?
You wanted those berries, Uncle Waverly.
I never said to kill anyone, you idiot.
How could you, Barley? I thought we were friends.
Shut up, or I'll shoot every last one of you.
Betty, no.
Wait a minute. Maybe you were all in on this.
Stop. What are you talking about?
Of course, the whole town. You all planned this.
Don't be ridiculous.
Then why didn't anyone come for me? For 3 days, not a single person from Williamsburg came to find me.
Of course we looked, Betty. Everyone did.
You need to get a grip, Betty.
You all thought you had won. You all thought I was dead. But Barley didn't finish the job, did he?
You're talking nonsense.
I know you sent Barley to follow me, Waverly. I saw that Christ blood wreath hanging outside your door with a big fat blue ribbon.
For God's sake, Betty, you're out of your mind. Barley's always been a worthless fool. I wouldn't send him to get greens from a grocery.
Shut up, old man. Haven't you done enough already?
At this point, Natalie stepped between Barley and Betty's threatening gun and tried to talk Betty down from her rightful fury.
Betty, can't we talk this through? I'm your nibbling, remember?
No point in talking anymore. I want justice.
Revenge is not justice, Betty.
Don't tell me what to do, Natalie. You don't know what it was like waiting for those turkey vultures to land.
Oh, Betty.
I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. But I felt everything. And Barley's gonna have to pay for that.
This is your fault, Betty,
said Barley from a crouched position behind Natalie's protective shoulders.
Shut up, Barley.
She always kept those damn berries all to herself. Why couldn't she share?
Barley addressed this comment directly to the Bordeaux camera crew standing 6 feet away.
Keep rolling, guys, from this angle.
They were mine. I found them.
You're just a greedy, selfish old lady.
Natalie winced at Barley's unhelpful comments, but stayed focused on Betty. Slowly, she crouched closer to Betty, arms outstretched.
Give me the gun, Betty.
No! Stay back, both of you.
Why should Betty be the only one to ever get a prize, huh?
For God's sakes, Barley, shut it!
Barley watched as his reflection in the camera lens mouthed his words back at him.
Well, too bad for you, Betty. Uncle Waverly's got the blue ribbon now.
No!
You dried up old hag.
No!
What just... Am I shot?
She killed Natalie.
Oh my God, I didn't mean to.
Natalie!
Grab her.
Call the police!
Closer, closer!
No, let go, let go. Natalie!
Poor Natalie. She never did get out of Williamsburg. Of course, Betty's trial was a big circus. A small-town murder over extremely low stakes is just the sort of clickbait the internet loves. Barley Prentice, his confession caught on film, pled guilty and was quickly sentenced to 10 years for attempted murder.
It's not fair.
Order.
It's all her fault anyway. She doesn't
Order
own
in the
those
court.
berries. It's not fair.
So Betty Miles became the cause célèbre for this sad saga.
Betty,
Please stop.
Why did you do it?
Everyone from Tucker Carlson to BuzzFeed News had to come to Williamsburg to put their own spin on the situation. Giselle Bordeaux was even called back to take the stand and testify.
It was horrible, Your Honor. The whole thing re-triggered the PTSD I developed while filming a documentary on cafe culture during the Libyan Civil War.
What insight Giselle's testimony provided, I don't know. But those camera-loving lawyers had a field day. And the Williamsburg community came down hard on Betty. Sure, many folks showed sympathy for Betty at first, but once Natalie's history of volunteer work with organizations like Cures for Kids came out, people were a lot less forgiving.
How does the jury find the defendant, Betty Miles, on the charge of manslaughter?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Betty Miles, guilty.
Betty Miles, you are hereby sentenced to 21 years at the West Point Women's Prison.
No, 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 no. Oh no!
Oh Lord, the West Point Women's Prison. I know from experience that this is one place up with which you do not want to get mixed. I can't imagine how Betty must have felt. Her whole life had been turned inside out, and Natalie was dead by Betty's own gun. It must have been brutal. But as time passed slowly, Betty adapted to her new prison life. After months of living in a stupor and barely eating, Betty began to feel she had punished herself enough. She couldn't change the past. And really, would any of you have acted differently? Betty finally started speaking with the other prisoners, developing a reputation as a dependable, trustworthy inmate. And after completing tasks of increasing responsibility, Betty was even allowed to teach an arts and crafts class to the other inmates, once again finding solace in her creative abilities.
Hey, Professor Betty, what'd you think of this collage? It's pretty dope, right?
Oh, good work, Marion. You've made something really interesting there. What is it exactly?
I dedicate it to my old boss.
Oh, right. The one you murdered.
Yeah, I call it Apology in Blue.
Aw, that's sweet, Marion. You're gonna send that to his family? They'll love it.
Shut your grease trap, Becca.
I'm just saying.
Well, I think you did a nice job, Marion. And everyone else, too. I can't wait to see you next week when I'll be showing you some great tips for making one-of-a-kind Christmas wreaths. Class dismissed.
Betty enjoyed that art class so much, it almost made her forget her sad predicament, which in a nutshell was day after day of the same tedious things: guilt, isolation, boredom, and the occasional phone call from an old friend, someone Betty never expected to stick by her.
Sorry I didn't call you on Thanksgiving, Betty. I've just got so much to do, you know?
I know, Karen. I bet it's just one gala after another over there in the burg.
Well, that's kind of true. We're busier than ever this year.
I guess that Giselle Bordeaux exposure really did help with the bottom line.
It's not just Giselle. I hate to say it, but this year's increase in revenue is mostly due to you, Betty. Your story blew up so bigly on crime podcasts. It's a whole thing now.
Really?
My gosh, there's even a, unofficial of course, Betty Miles Christmas Tour.
Please.
And due to public demand, we've opened up the employee Christmas show to everyone. Lord knows what those folks are expecting to see.
Wonderful. Glad I could help the economy.
Oh, Betty, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000,000 times. That verdict was so unfair. Of course, we feel terrible about Natalie, but you were not in your right mind that night, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Sure, Karen's calls were nice and everything, but they didn't change squat. The best Betty could do was try to stay busy. In addition to her art classes, Betty had the prison garden. Barren for many years, it had come back to life under Betty's skillful care, and now under a cold, gray Virginia sky, spitting out a few sparse snowflakes, it was time to put the garden to bed and gather up what useful remains she could for next week's class.
Oh, these rose hips will be perfect. Ow! Darn thorns, I'm bleeding.
Betty watched a small drop of blood enlarge on her thumb. A deer tick-sized snowflake drifted onto the center of the glob and instantly melted.
Betty.
What?
Betty Miles.
Derechia? No, I can't believe it.
I've missed you, Betty.
Go away. You ruined my life.
Have I really?
Are you serious? Look around, Derechia. This prison is a nightmare.
But Betty, look at the difference you're making in other people's lives.
What are you talking about?
You're such an example to the other prisoners, Betty.
What?
Teaching them about art and beauty, leading them towards contemplation and serenity.
I never asked for that. I didn't want Natalie to die for that.
Didn't you?
Of course not.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Derechia, leave me alone.
Merry Christmas, Betty.
You have been listening to a special Christmas installment of the homemade audio drama Lost in Williamsburg. This evening's cast included Lydia Carter as Betty Miles.
Tomorrow's the last.
Michelle Ford as Natalie Moore.
I hope she takes a nice long vacation when Wreath
Garland Lancaster as Barley Prentice.
Yeah, I'm breathing heavy now.
Walker Thompson as Waverly Prentice.
The only reason I had any inkling of that is doing hair at an Arabic wedding.
Davis Richardson as Cory.
I'm sorry to spread ahead a little bit. Okay, wow. I love it. Okay.
Meryl Gerstenmaier as Karen Moody.
Is she like kissing her ass, I assume?
Deborah Elder as Giselle Bordeaux.
I'm just reading the lines. I'm not here to make comment.
Edward Glass as Mr. Randolph.
I don't know. This is harder than I thought.
And Joe Hertzler as Teddy.
Also featuring Debbie Smith as Derechia and Canton Murphy as Timmy. Our supporting cast includes Patrick Popek, Debbie Burcham, Jennifer Ryan, Jack Martin, Paul Hellyer, Krista Mauser, Liz Barnes, Lynn Sikora, Pete Lutz, Mike Murphy, Rish Outfield and Friends, and Daniel Fishbonius of the Chronosphere podcast.
This episode of Lost in Williamsburg was taped, wrapped, ribboned, and signed by Philip Merritt with the help of a few sound effects from freesound.org and the BBC. Thank you for listening. This is your host, Caroline Corney, saying Merry Christmas and see you again soon. Good night.